Hi, I'm Arnie Kogen. I lived with Jay Kogen for over 20 years. It didn't work out. We had to let him go. Don't be alone with Jay Kogen.
Don't be alone with Jay Kogen.
Welcome to Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogen. I'm your cordial host, Jay Kogen, and I thank you for being here, and I thank you for all the kind comments and suggestions that you guys have been sending me, and please feel free to send me more at dbawjk@gmail.com. Today we have a really interesting show for you. It is something I've wanted to do for a very long time. I have my father as our special guest. My dad, Arnie Kogen, is a great comedy writer. He's a 3-time Emmy-winning comedy writer. He started writing Mad Magazine and then wrote for variety shows, talk shows, variety shows, then sitcoms. He's always been one of my heroes. He punches up things I write. I tend to show him things that I work on still because he's really sharp and funny. But this will be more about personal things and how he became the Arnie Kogen he is. And for me, it's fascinating because, you know, your dad is your hero when you grow up. He's also your person you're rebelling against. And you inherit many things from your family, that some of which you like and some of which you don't like. And we'll talk about a lot of those things and what he thinks of his life and thinks of his influences. And I am lucky to do this sitting with my son, Charlie Kogen, who will be here. He is also a writer. He's a singer-songwriter, but also a good comedy writer. And so the 3 generations of Kogens will be here sitting at the table interrogating my father, Arnie Kogen, and maybe we'll all learn why Arnie Kogen is the way he is right after this.
Don't be alone with Jay Kogen.
Dad, welcome to Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogen.
Hey, thank you.
I'm
Good
here
to
with
be here.
I'm here with Arnie Kogen and Charlie Kogen.
Hey, Charlie.
These are 3 generations of Kogens. This is a first in the Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogen history. Thanks for being here, and thanks for agreeing to do this. This is kind of, for me, an opportunity to ask you questions about things that I don't normally ask you about, and just to have a recorded history of you. I mean,
I thought you asked me everything up until
now.
No,
I have not asked you everything.
Right.
And what are you're set the stage here. You're 90 years old, just turned 90.
91.
Oh, just turned 91.
Yeah, where the hell were
He
you?
reads at a
You're
92-year-old
You
level.
look 90. You look not a day over 90.
I'm trying to look 83 if I could to get more work.
So 91 years old. So that's
91,
fantastic.
yeah.
We better hurry and finish the podcast because we may not make
as fast as you can. Yes.
So you are, my dad, obviously.
Yeah.
And that's your biggest credit.
Yes.
But you also,
My biggest credit, yes.
you also have been a comedy writer for, I don't know, 70 years, whatever it is.
A little less than that. Started in late 50s, yeah.
Late 50s.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I started when I was early 20s.
All right.
Yeah. So it's like 70 years, yeah.
Stop calling me a liar. I would appreciate it.
No, it's too late. I'm going to, yeah.
So let's just start with the beginning. Give me a little bit of what you remember, because you have a great memory usually about your childhood.
On some things, yes. Yeah.
Let's talk about your childhood. What is your first memories of growing up in Brooklyn, New York?
First memory ever was myself and my cousin Eugene, who's 1 year younger than me, in the high chair, and they gave him fish, and he didn't like it, and they said, then give it to Arnie. So I got his used fish.
Right.
My first memory ever. So that was it. And I had a great childhood, I think. I mentioned...
Doesn't sound great from the fish story.
Yeah.
I got to be honest.
After the fish story, it
That's
was
very
the best,
austere.
It was the best childhood ever. I mentioned I've had a silly life, but a wonderful life. So
we'll be the judge. Let's get to the
okay.
end. We'll hear.
Brooklyn, New York.
What do you remember from your childhood of Brooklyn?
Growing up in an apartment house on Ocean Parkway on Avenue O, and then we moved to Kings Highway on Ocean Parkway.
Right.
I was there for 15 years. I had a great childhood. I played punchball, stickball, all the Brooklyn things.
Right.
Went to movies, watched comedy shows and movies and radio shows, and I was okay and having fun. And I had a bunch of kids. We were the Comets. We had an athletic club, and we played punchball and basketball.
So go back to the Comets. The Comets were... At what age did you join the Comets?
Well, I kind of organized them. We're about 12 years old.
Okay,
And we got jackets.
So were there other social athletic clubs? You called yourself a social athletic club.
There were a whole bunch of them with different names. Comets, the Blades, there were like 50 of them.
And what's the difference between a social athletic club and a gang?
We had no knives.
Okay.
We didn't have a knife at
Wait.
all. We had carried pistols, but no knives.
But like, did you like hobnob with other social athletic clubs?
My
or
mother
was
told
it-
me never to hobnob with anybody.
Would that be any different if there were no Comets? Wouldn't you ask those same people to go play at basketball?
You're probably right. It would be the same thing without the jackets.
So
yes.
what was the joy of the? I guess to have a
I've been
group.
realizing it now, Jay. There was no joy at all. With
All right.
So yeah, it was a nice, pleasant time. I got some home movies, but there were no friendships that have lasted all this time. I still not friendly with any of them now.
Right? Are they
They're
alive?
enemies?
I'm guessing most are dead. If they're not dead, they're dying as we speak.
Okay. What? So tell us about World War II. Like not all the battles, but just what did it mean to you?
We beat the Nazis. We beat the enemy. It was a good time for me, not for America necessarily, but
But like you were
the
6 or
parades,
7.
My mother was, as you know, she lived to write little songs and stuff. She wrote songs about the war and sending the soldiers on their way. There was a draft board across the street from my house, so I'd see parents crying, "Don't take my son and my kid." It was kind of sad, and there were parades going by on Ocean Parkway, and my mother used to write these songs, sending them off to victory, and so it was a lot going on my street.
Right, but you were when the war started, you were about 6 or 7,
That's correct.
and then when the war ended, you were like 12.
12 years old, yeah.
And
Or
so
11 and a half. Wait.
11 and a half, yeah,
All
45,
right.
yes. And
that's not.
and I remember
That's
when
not quibble.
Listen, if I were watching this podcast, I would be doing the math
right,
of like,
all right.
oh, he said he was 91.
are there any
Okay,
fact
whatever.
checkers here?
But I mean, okay, so
excellent.
did you have a different feeling about the war at the end than the beginning?
I was thrilled at the end when we won, but
Did you know what was happening?
I was rooting for America all the way. I'd see war movies.
I know, but I mean, did you know people were dying? Would you
I know,
were you
but I
aware
kept-
people were dying?
I know I had cousins, George and Irving Goldstein, and I kept saying to their mother, "When are they coming home?" So
Right.
I kept bothering her about that. And
Shout out George and Irving Goldstein.
And did they come home?
They came home a lot.
Okay,
Yes,
all right.
they did. And they were it was a major part of my life, World War II. I liked war movies.
Right.
Yankee Doodle Dandy is one of my favorite movies. Not a war movie, but it's a military movie.
Patriotic movie.
Yeah, patriotic movie.
Yeah.
And so I have pleasant memories, not of the war, but that time in my life was a good time in my life.
What was Papa Sam like? What was your father like? To me, he was a very austere guy. Like, didn't have a great sense of humor. Was kind of rough. Had a kind of a thick accent, a little bit.
He had a little thick accent, from Russia and or Ukraine. He was kind of he was very worried about business. His business was his life, pretty much.
Right.
And as far as sense of humor, he had an occasional. He did have a dry sense of humor. My mother, as you know, Pauline, couldn't cook at all. My mother was a horrible cook. I don't know if you know Charlie, but she was a terrible cook.
I know.
So that's what I had to grow up with.
That's
a
the
horrible
lore
cook.
that's been passed
Very
down.
sweet. I loved her. I was crazy about her. Bad cook. And then she made something, and then her mother, Ethel, made something. She was not a much better cook than my mother. My father said, "Yeah, 2 cooks."
Right.
I thought that was pretty funny when he said that.
Right.
And I think there were 1 or 2 other funny things that he said during our lifetime, but not a lot.
All right.
And he said, later on, he didn't care for my work, my contribution to his business, but
Right.
you can get into that a little
Well,
later.
I mean, so what feedback did you get from your father when you were a kid? But before we get to your work, but like when you were a kid, what did he like about what you did, or compliment you?
He
or,
didn't,
or scold
Jay and Charlie, he didn't compliment me a lot. He was affectionate when I was younger, and but he was concerned about his business, and he was pleasant to be with. He didn't spank me a lot. They were rougher with my sister Phyllis than they were with me.
Why do you think?
I don't know why. I don't know, but they kind of left me alone to be myself, whatever that was. So
Sister Phyllis was the oldest child, so
she
sometimes
was
they're tougher
6.5
on
years older than me.
older
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
So okay, but you worked for Papa Sam's.
He hired me.
Your father made clothing, right?
He manufactured children's wear, knitted children's wear. So it was a successful business when he started in 1945 or 44. And during the war years, he did very well. And the late 40s, he did well. Early 50s, okay, but not great. And he said, "You're going to work for me." And he hired me. and I was paying no attention to the business at all. He manufactured these shirts. He'd get bolts of cloth, send them up to upstate New York, Watertown, New York, and have shirts made. They'd send shirts back to us.
Right.
We'd fold them, put them in boxes, a dozen each, and we try to sell them to major department stores.
Right.
You know, and I was a salesman for a while, but I used to work indoors a lot and move shirts around a lot and bring them to the post office. And he fired me twice. Once I wasn't paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Once I was singing too loud. I think it was a Tony Bennett song. And he said, out, get out.
Right.
And then again, he fired me a second time. I forgot why, but we didn't cut it. I didn't make it. And he had to liquidate his business eventually. I didn't help.
Right.
He had to liquidate. And I tell a story about when I went to look for a job after that. And they said, where'd you work before? I said, Kogen Juvenile Wear. And they said, can we call him for a reference? I said, why bother calling him? He's next. Ask him yourself. He's right behind me. So
At the unemployment office.
At the unemployment office, yes.
Being fired by your father is like, to me, seems like a big deal. But I mean, maybe to you it was. But like, I can't imagine A, working for you, and B, getting fired by you.
It was not a traumatic thing for me. It didn't matter that much. And I had no car, so if I wanted to make out with a girl, and I had the key to the office, I'd say, hey, you want to get together? We went up to my dad's office on East 19th Street, and we'd be together 3 or 4 hours on the material, on the cloth. So that was my only place to hang out with women.
Your only place to make out was in your dad's office?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah, and then
that's a real turn on.
I guess I don't know the kind of gals coming upstairs. Like,
I didn't know either.
Come to
who knew?
Well,
I was very
know.
happy.
You met them.
Yeah,
You would know. Like,
and once the police were guarding the place, there was some burglaries. Hey, up in the 5th floor, what's going on? I said, I'm the son of the owner. Okay. Well, anyway.
A weird pickup line. You want to go make out on some kids' clothes?
It was weird. It worked like 1 out of 45 times.
Okay,
yes,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, at least I respect the 45 attempts.
Do you like children's wear? I got something to show you.
The story about working for your dad
that
I remember is you spending an entire weekend sharpening pencils and pasting them on the walls of every room in the
Good
building.
Story. Thanks for reminding me. So there was never a pencil. I said, Dad, we have a pencil. I don't have a pencil. So one weekend, I said, I want to do something for my dad and for the office. I spent a weekend in the office sharpening pencils, getting boxes, pasting them on the walls, and sharpening like 100 pencils, putting them in different boxes.
Okay.
And so Monday morning came. I said to my dad, look at this, Dad. Now we got pencils. Look at all the walls and look at the boxes. He said, that's nice, but why don't we just carry a pencil in our pockets? That was his advice.
One pencil, anybody could grab one and carry it around themselves.
So I said, that's good too. So I spent a weekend just trying to impress him, I think. It didn't quite work.
No.
What point in your life did you consider yourself funny?
The joke was probably more important than a lot of stuff. When I was dating and I had a choice of making a joke or kissing a girl goodnight, I'd make the joke.
Right.
So the joke would come first.
Right.
The joke came first before I came.
Right.
Yes.
Literally.
Anyway, so the joke was always important. I was not the funniest kid in the school, although I may have been. I was not the class clown.
When you were young, who were your big comedy heroes?
In a way, Jack Benny, the radio show, Bob Hope, movies. I kind of liked Abbott and Costello. I liked a lot of comedy movies. I'm trying to think of the other movie stars. It was Hope and
Danny Kaye.
I liked Danny Kaye a lot. I saw that movie. The Secret Life of Walter Mitty 28 times, or like 14 times in Hazleton, Pennsylvania. And I met Danny Kaye years later. I told him about it. He was bored with it. He didn't care for the story.
Okay.
No, he liked the story.
When was it that you thought, that you were funny enough to maybe be professionally funny? And what was your first sale of any kind?
First sale is easy. First sale ever was the Mad Magazine, 1959, February. A story I had pitched it a few times, and they said, Jerry DeFuscio, because Nick wasn't around then, Jerry DeFuscio said, we can't use this now, maybe with some other stuff.
Jerry DeFuscio is an editor of Mad Magazine.
Of Mad Magazine, one assistant editor. And so he said, you could try all the imitation magazines. And at that time, there were like 20 of them, crazy, think, and nuts. And I went to one of them, Panic. They said, we like this. You have any other stuff? I said, yeah, I do. I'll get some. And I showed him 18 pages. He said, we want to buy all of it. I said, wow, 18 pages. His rate was $25 a page. I said, that's more than I make in a month, in 2 months. We can't pay you now. We'll pay you 6 months from now when we have the money. I said, no, I'm not sure about that. Well, you can turn around and go to Mad Magazine if you want with this. I went back to Mad, and they bought 2 of them. I didn't know that. They said, well, look it over. 10 days later, I got this check in the mail, which is the biggest thrill of my life. Mad Magazine check, which I should have copied and Xerox, but I cashed it. So that was my first sale. Shortly after that, I sold to Morty Gunty, a stand-up comedian.
So you wrote for Mad Magazine. You were excited. Did you tell your parents? Like, who'd you tell? Like, hey,
I told everybody. I think they knew. Whoever knew about Mad Mag. My folks didn't know what Mad was. Right. I told a lot of people.
You were married.
I had not yet been married. 1959 was a big year for Mad Magazine, Morty Gunty, and marriage.
Right.
Later that year, I got married to your mom.
Right.
Of all people.
Right. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
But did you tell her? Were you friendly with her when she?
Certainly, I told everybody. Okay. And then I was still writing. 59, I was still working for something. It wasn't Olivetti yet. I was working for a furniture company.
Yeah.
And I quit the furniture company. At that time, Al Felstein, the editor of Mad Magazine, I said, I quit the furniture company. He said, Arnie, we can't keep supplying you with stuff with no guarantee here and that kind of thing. I said, I understand. It's freelance. And so I continued to write for Mad Magazine, freelance. All the comedians, Totie Fields and, Catskill Comics, I wrote more for them. Before that, I wrote for Don Adams. He didn't buy anything. But the thing I liked best was a piece I wrote for him. He used to do a thing called the Baseball Umpire School and a Lawyer. I don't know if you're familiar with his early stuff.
Yeah.
Very funny.
But I don't remember that.
And I wrote a piece called the Schoolroom Routine. And
the schoolroom routine?
Yeah, about a teacher, I think.
Right.
And I did it in Don Adams' style.
You performed it, or you wrote it for Don Adams?
I wrote it for him. When he didn't do it,
right.
I did it.
Right. Where did you perform this?
I went to a bar on Flatbush Avenue. It was amateur night. 7 contestants. I came in 8th, I believe.
Really? Okay.
Not a great reaction, yes.
Why do you think it didn't go so good?
I don't know. But it went well some months before that when I met your mom.
Right.
At a party that Herb Astro, I went to a Herb Astro party, a New Year's Eve party. Didn't like it. I left that party and went to a party in Brooklyn in the basement and did the comedy routine. And a very pretty girl in a red dress was laughing loud. I got her number. Who's that? Sue Hirsch. I dated her. We married about a year and a half later.
So were you, when you did the comedy at that party, this was a New Year's Eve party, right?
Yes.
But were you hired to do comedy at this
no
party?
Hire, or no money. I was just visiting as a guest, but saying hello.
What were you doing? Because my impression was that you had a gig or you had a
No. Okay. I used to do this thing in schoolyards. I used to recite my routine that I wrote in schoolyards wherever I could. And so I said, I tried at the basement.
Did you think you were going to be a stand-up comedian maybe?
Never. Didn't want to be.
So it's interesting that you're willing to sort of do the bits, even though you didn't think...
I did
to travel to Boston for a bit.
I wasn't thinking about stand-up comedy. I was thinking about... Somehow I drifted into... I was sort of a drifter comedy writer. I had no idea what to be a disc jockey for many years.
Well, let's back up to drifter. At what point were you a drifter?
I was always a drifter. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I wanted to do something other than be an insurance salesman or own a store or be a clothing salesman or be a dentist. I didn't want to be a normal thing. And I was still working full-time. I worked for Olivetti that year. At 59 also, I started to work for Olivetti Underwood, or Olivetti, a calculator company, and worked there for 4 years.
Typewriters too, yeah.
They sell typewriters and calculators.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you have one.
Yes, I have one.
But you were
I want it back.
Okay.
But you were in the calculator section of it, or just
both calculators? And the main thing was a calculator. You had to place one calculator a day on trial someplace in New York City, in your area. Mine was the East Village. Calculators that cost $700, and you had to sell 3 a month. That's $2,100.
So these are like industrial calculators. They're not like
they're
not like a TI.
paper.
They're not like a TI-83 or what? Yeah, okay.
No, but it's like an enhanced adding machine.
Yeah, no,
multiplies,
for sure. Yeah.
So the whole East Village.
It's for businesses and for
it was pretty good.
You're B2B, not B2C.
Right, exactly.
Pretty good.
For all
it weighed 40
two
pounds,
business
by the way.
people listening to this podcast.
What was the hardest part about selling Olivetti calculators and typewriters?
That's the hustle. I had to go from place to place. And leaving a trial, leaving that trial machine was the hardest part.
Placing it, like getting them to
I
agree?
get into the office and say, can I leave this here? They didn't want it.
Right.
I said, I would do whatever I could. I fall in a lot. I used to fall into rooms a lot.
While you were selling Olivetti
While
things?
I had this 35-pound calculator in my hand, I'd fall in.
Okay, so now...
First, the principle of salesmanship, Jay, is secure attention.
Okay, well, you did secure attention, I'm
that
sure.
did it, yeah.
You've spent most of your life falling into rooms.
And then you did it.
I
picked
used
that
to
up,
do
yes.
it because I thought I saw you do it. But now that you're older, you just fall. It's okay. It's not for comedy purposes.
Into any room.
Right.
It's hard with a walker. I have the calculator and the walker.
But so that's where the falling started.
That could have been.
Yeah.
Do you think the sort of goofiness of falling, did that work as a sales technique? Did
got
people
their
say,
attention.
hey, I like that guy who falls into rooms?
It got their attention, so I was able to place a few trials that way. It did get their attention, yes.
I would have gotten my attention. I don't know what it would. I'm not sure it would have been like a sign that I should trust this guy.
Yeah.
You got a point there, Jay.
Right.
You're right.
But
You're right.
I would have gotten my attention.
I also didn't. When I met the head of Olivetti, he came around and the manager said, the head of Dino Olivetti is coming in, whatever his name was. Want you to give him a demonstration. Each of you give him a demonstration and get his attention and give him a demonstration. So everyone said, hi, Mr. Olivetti, and here's the machine, here's the Divisuma, here's the tractors, here's how it works. I walked up and I said, hello, Mr. Olivetti, and I kissed him on the neck.
Okay.
I kissed him on the neck.
Right.
Huge laughter. He laughed also.
That's funny.
He laughed. I said, we got attention on show. So I was happy with that.
That's hysterical.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
And then that night on the subway, Sue was going home, and these guys were talking. You see what Kogen did today? What Kogen did? She said, are you talking about Arnie Kogen? What do you do? And they told me the story that I kissed
That's
Olivetti
really
on
funny.
the neck.
Okay, so you did practical jokes
Yes.
your whole life.
Yes, I did.
Well, certainly when you got older, what's your greatest hits? What are your greatest practical jokes?
It's a rich area for me, Jay. You know all of them. You know all of them too. But
I know.
I think
quite a few.
For you people listening or watching, I've always been amused and by shepherds. This occupation, shepherd. So I've done a lot of shepherd stuff in my life.
Okay.
And so the first major one I did, I think, was the New York Times, very staid, conservative newspaper then, maybe now, I'm not sure. I placed an ad, and that was called Situations Wanted. Not help wanted, but situations. I said it had statistician, stenographer, accountant who needs work. So I placed an ad, I needed work. Shepherd, to tend flock. Handy, will not cry wolf. And put my phone number, sent it to the New York Times. Next day, I got a phone call from you, Arnold Kogen? Yes. It's the New York Times. Oh, hello. We can't place the ad. Why not? You got to name something more specific. I said, shepherd, to tend flock. That's specific. They said, well, that's okay, but what is this will not cry wolf? Right. I said, oh, that's just a term used in the trade, meaning you'll do a good job, won't kid around. They said, okay, we'll place it. They placed it. So, I got it in the paper. Next, they just seeing it in the paper. I
Sure. I don't think anyone at the New York Times had ever met a shepherd.
No, they don't know shepherds.
So next day, that night, phone call. You the guy that placed the ad for the shepherd? Yeah. I got a farm in New Jersey, 28 acres, 43 sheep. I need help. I said, oh, I got very frightened. I hurt my leg. I can't do it. It was my friend Herb Astro putting me on. I had no idea. I got very, very petrified.
That's so funny. So like he double-crossed your prank. That's awesome.
When Grace Kelly got married, remember Grace Kelly, actress?
Do I remember Grace Kelly? I
mean, you know the name Grace Kelly.
I know who Grace Kelly is.
Princess Grace of Monaco. She married the Prime Minister of Monaco, Prince Rainier.
Right. Yeah.
Prince. So she got married. Big news. All winter long, all that spring, they're getting married. So I had decided to have an invitation printed up to the wedding.
Yeah.
And it said, Mr. and Mrs. Kelly of Philadelphia announced the marriage of their daughter Grace to Prince Rainier of Monaco, April 9th, 1956. Monte Carlo, Monaco, so-and-so will not attend. Tissue paper, response cards, everything.
Yeah.
Sent out to like 100 people. And people went nuts, sort of. But the biggest story was Mike Wise, who got the thing for me in Korea. He was in the Army at the time.
Yeah.
He got one of Dad's fake invitations.
Yeah.
So he recognized my handwriting. He knew it was for me. Didn't tell anybody. Stars and Stripes, the Army paper, found out about it. They did a headline. Soldier invited to a wedding of Prince Rainier and Grace Kelly, and he's not going. It turns out he made this whole story. He said, I know both Prince Rainier and Grace Kelly. Grace is a natural kid. I never thought she'd marry the prince. She worships athletes. And he said, and I've been to the area of the world before. I'm going to Hong Kong instead. Soldier turned down. So anyway, Soldier Saturday he posted a series on cities, Hong Kong. PFC Mike Wise turned down the wedding of Grace Kelly to visit Hong Kong. When he went to Hong Kong, he got the key to the city. The mayor of Hong Kong greeted him with the key to the city. You turned down the wedding. Thank you. Welcome.
I would fall into rooms, like I would come visit you at work.
Yes.
And fall into rooms too.
Sometimes that will work, sometimes not, right?
Sometimes it interrupted the flow. I didn't know what was going on. So people could be working. It's an actual place of work. So you'd be falling into a room.
I did.
And you disturb people.
I did the same thing. I was in a Patchen and Tarsus and Buzz Cohen were working together in a room. Open door, I fell in, and they just looked at me and said, "What's going on?" Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'll leave. I'll come out later. No reaction.
Right. It's if you're taking a big risk when falling in a room and you get no reaction, it sucks.
Sometimes it works.
That sucks.
Sometimes it works.
It worked more often than not.
64, I wrote for Candid Camera. A lot of stuff you're hearing now was that kind of stuff. I love writing for Candid Camera.
You seem well suited to
I did a Shepherd thing. I did a bowling alley where you bowl a ball and the pin smashed to a zillion pieces, and they catch a reaction. How'd that?
Right.
What happened? I did a coffee shop where they charge you not by the menu price, but 60 cents a minute. So the faster you eat, the less you pay. So they're putting ketchup on the sugar. I had a thing where a traveler was going to Connecticut, and the sign said Connecticut closed.
The whole state.
Yeah.
So you want to turn around and go to Massachusetts? You can. No, I want to go right to Connecticut. No, please don't. So I did a lot of funny stuff. I enjoyed sitting in that room, and a lot of people who I knew. Pat McCormick wrote for Candid Camera. Joan Rivers wrote for Turtletaub wrote for Candid Camera. A lot of well-known writers wrote for Candid Camera.
So what year you were in 1960?
This is 60. That was 63, 64. 65, I wrote for Candid Camera again, and the Les Crane Show.
Right, which is a
Les
talk
Crane
show.
was a talk show with Les Crane, good-looking guy from San Francisco. He had a shotgun mic, kind of hot, trendy, and I didn't do much comedy for him. I wrote intros, interviewed guests. Then I was telling Totie Fields, I'd love to do the Gleason show. Marvin Marks, who wrote for her, was doing Gleason. I eventually was called down to fly down to Florida to do the Jackie Gleason show. What a break.
Right.
So I flew down there, and it turns out there were 14 writers there. Ron Clark was one of them, Turtletaub another, and it was one of many writers that they flew down. I was there for like 4 weeks, and I didn't write any monologue.
Is it good money? Or are you just getting by?
For me, it was good because it was better than what I was making.
Right.
I made more per month then than I was writing for Olivetti and comedy. So I made about $15,000 a year, which is pretty good then.
At this point, you had 2 children going on.
Yeah.
Me and my sister.
Yeah, but I made more money there than I used to make with the other stuff. And then next year, Johnny Carson on Tonight Show read my stuff. I said, wow. I met with Johnny himself and the producer, Art Stark, I believe. And while I was talking to him, he was doing the golf swing, and he had read my stuff, and he talked to me a bit, and then he must have liked enough that they hired me. And I was very excited about that.
It's a huge development. How did you feel? Like you're at that point when you got the Tonight Show?
Yeah.
Was that like the big time?
That was huge. It was huge. I was very excited, and then disappointed 6 months later when they did not pick up my option because I think he liked my stuff and they were using stuff, and I was not happy. And so that end of '66, first half of '67, I was looking for work. I was still doing Mad Magazine and stand-up comics and special material, but not working on a show. And I went to California to look for work. While I was in California, John Carsey on The Tonight Show called me and said, "We want you back. Can you make it?" I said, "I'd love to."
Right.
"We want you to back." And those words, "We want you back," were thrilling to me. They wanted me back, and I went back to The Tonight Show, and I worked again. I then worked for the next 30 years.
Do you know what why they let you go and why they wanted you back?
No explanation. No word. No word. And then I think they felt bad from, the staff felt bad that I was leaving. And that time, I wasn't, the main monologue writers were Ed Weinberger and David Lloyd. And later on, Marshall Brickman came along.
Right.
So I did monologue and Carnax and so forth. But
I mean, it's interesting. Most of the time,
Yeah.
they're not sentimental. Most show business is not sentimental. If they
No,
fire
no.
somebody,
I
they're gone.
never got word from anybody. Maybe I'll find out this week why they did that.
Maybe you stop falling into rooms.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you worked at the Tonight Show for a little while, and then at what point did you get the job to move to Hollywood?
Pretty soon. I got Tonight Show in 67, early 68. I had met Greg Garrison and that trip in 67. We want you for a summer show. I said, I'm not going to do a summer show out here. Garrison and Harry Crane, those people found out about me, maybe through Stephen Eydie, maybe through whoever recommended me. And Dean Martin Coach Show said, we want you. And that was very exciting.
Right.
We picked up and left Sheepshead Bay and moved to California.
And that was kind of a dream of yours to always have come to California.
Yeah, living my dream.
So what was your greatest professional achievement?
I got to say part of the Burnett show, I think, Burnett show, Tonight Show, the Burnett Show sketch where I wrote this thing called The Pail. I had this idea and I wrote along with a partner of mine, Ray Jessel. And, I'm not going to describe the sketch, but it was a sketch about Harvey Korman and Carol Burnett, and turns out the therapist caused the problem for the patient. She didn't know this, but
She was going to shrink.
Spoiler for everyone.
She was going to shrink and complaining about this bully who used to steal her, her
pail.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he was a bully, he was fat, he was a bully, and he was my sandbox. At some point, he said, and here's the line I love it. He said, was this pale blue? I thought that line. He said, yes. Did it have Daisy Duck on one side and on the other side? Yes. You're Fatso Fleischman. You got my pail. I don't know your pail. I got your pail was 25 years ago. If you don't give me my pail right now, I'm going to go into that room of $100 an hour patients and tell them you did pee-pee in the sandbox.
Right.
And she started to walk to the door. He said, hold on a second. Opens a little desk drawer and pulls out a pail and said, here you go. And she said, okay. And, hold it. This isn't my pail. This is Lenore Weingarten's pail. Well, that's all I've got. And then I want my pail. I don't have your pail. And then he started to back up towards a closet. And he started to guard the closet. But she pushed him away, opened the door, 12 million pails fall out. So she finally found a pail. Was, okay, I got my pail, started to skip out. And then simply turned around to him and said, hold on a second. Went back to him, just did this. And he opened his desk drawer and pulled out a tiny shovel and gave it to him. So it had like 4 endings. I love this sketch.
That's great.
And Carol loved it also. And I never told you this, but in run-through that week, huge applause, big reaction. And Gary Belkin said, nobody writes, who wrote that? Nobody writes is funny. I remember that line. Right. Nobody writes is funny. And I'm happy with that,
That's very
so
nice.
That may have been it.
What was your biggest show business disappointment?
Good question, Jay. I'd have to get back to you on that. I don't know.
There's no getting back to me. It's here, it's now or never. Was it the Soupy Sales movie? Was it?
Oh yeah. Okay. How could I forget that? I wrote a Soupy Sales movie.
I know about the Soupy
Okay.
Sales.
Anyway,
we have the poster.
I had no. It was like right after the Les Crane show. I had no idea what I was doing. Obviously, from the film you see, they called me. Marty Engel had told Ivan Torres, the producer, about this writer he found, me, and he hired me. He didn't say, show me samples of your work, because if I did, he wouldn't have hired me. Because all I did was, and now, ladies and gentlemen, Lupa Lisa, intro to a singer. That's all he would have seen. So I punched up stuff on an existing script written by a professional writer. Art Arthur was a nice guy and a good writer, good credits. And this movie was a mess, Soupy Sales was flying around, and I got caught in an ionization machine and could fly. That's basically the story. And Tab Hunter said it was the worst movie he's ever been in his life.
Right.
And I've seen some
some pretty bad Tab Hunter movies.
Yeah, and I've seen bad Tab Hunter movies. This is worse. So that was my biggest support. Yeah, and I'm sorry, Soupy, you're not around anymore, but I apologize. I should have done better, but I did the best I could.
Who were your favorite coworkers, like comedy coworkers, and what did they do for you, and did any one of them mentor you or teach you?
There was so many they always say along the way I couldn't have done it alone. I couldn't. There were so many people who helped me and worked with me. Pat McCormick's got to be way up there. I worked with him a number of times. Started on a show called The Funny Side, and I was teamed with him for a while. And a thrill one of them was we worked together on a segment. We had various hosts coming in. At one point, Jack Benny came in to do the lighter side, the funny side of finance. So Pat McCormick and I would sit and write for Jack Benny, who I loved, and I was writing with a writer who I was crazy about. That was very exciting. Along the way, McCormick had so many brilliant lines. He could craft a great joke. You know who he was?
Yeah, you've talked about him.
Yeah. He said things like, I think this was his line, so many sheep, so little time. He said he once roomed in a dressing room with Orson Welles and checked his underwear. It says, one size fits Romania.
Good joke.
He had, on the Tonight Show, after a series of earthquakes, and he was writing Tonight Show at the time. I think I was also at the time with him. But he wrote the joke, after the series of aftershocks, he said, the state of California has now been declared a ride.
Right.
He would have thrived in like the meme format.
Yes, memes or tweets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very funny.
Very good, like one-liner.
Oh, he's good. He's brilliant at one line. Brilliant. A great, incredible mind. And he would do dopey, very funny stuff. And,
I feel like I would see so many sheep, so little time on my Instagram. Who of any comics now do you enjoy?
I still like Seinfeld. I watch reruns of Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And Steve Martin I still like.
Yeah. You ever watch like John Mulaney?
I like Mulaney. I like Mulaney.
You ever watch?
But some stuff doesn't work, but most of the stuff works very well for me. Yes, I like Mulaney.
Do you ever? I have punchlines. I'm thinking of Mark Normand. Do you ever watch him?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I like Conan a lot.
Yeah,
Conan's funny and silly, both.
You have always seemed, or at least as far as I can tell, as being your son, to you, the world is interesting. As a comedy writer, you have to see the subtleties of human endeavors and human nature. But as a person, you like the world black and white. You really like there's right and a wrong, or there's a good way and a bad way. Like it seems at odds.
It does.
At odds with
it does, and I'm different than a lot of my friends who are. Yeah, I do, and I do feel strongly about the right and wrong. And that's that. If somebody goes in and 12 guys rob a jewelry store, I said, well, they shouldn't be doing that. Got to, if people are leaving double parking their car,
right?
You don't do that. You don't double park and leave it alone.
Right.
It's wrong.
Well, the other day we were in a bank.
Yeah.
At Chase Bank, and you wanted to get your credit limit or extended, and we were there for 20 minutes trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, they said, it's not a credit limit. They're to be able to use your mobile app. There's a limit to how much the checks can be, and he's getting checks that are worth way more than what he's allowed to do.
Okay.
And so
you've come a long way.
He has to come into the bank, and he was trying to get it extended so that he could use the mobile app for these big checks. And they said, no, we can't. And at the end of the meeting, you grabbed a bunch of pens, and you handed them to me, and you said, take these pens, which was the most unlike Arnie Kogen thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's true.
Like, you wanted me to take the pens as revenge. Like revenge from the bank.
Yes.
You stole 2 pens.
I was wrong, but I'm glad I did it.
Well, you didn't steal them. They're for people to take. They're for the customers. Okay. So you were literally taking the pens the customers should have and we're going to take these and go. And that was the most I've ever seen you sort of violate any kind of principle.
That's the angriest I've been. That pen snatching.
It was crazy.
Because I know you're
very strange.
Yeah, because you're famously very staunch about if you I don't know, if you get a little bit of extra change, you'll give them back.
Yes.
I remember once we drove back to a store to give them change.
Yeah, I'm glad I did it. Whatever store that was, it's the right thing to do.
What is the hardest part about being 91?
Mornings. No. Psychologically, I think about it a little bit. I want to get through the day, and I want to. I don't know. It's a good question, Jay, and I can't get around physically. I can't drive a car. I have trouble walking. I can't play basketball. I can't do the physical stuff I used to do.
Right.
It's the hardest part. I can't I can't get up and go to a movie. I can't get up and drive someplace.
You can go to a movie.
Huh?
You can go to a movie.
Not easy.
I mean, if you want to go to a movie, we can get you to a movie.
It's just a rougher time.
Yeah.
If I want to go to a restaurant with friends,
Right.
I can't just say, okay, we'll see you Thursday night. I have to plan it out. I got to, where are we going?
Right.
What's the parking lot? Is there handicap parking? What's the?
We don't need handicap parking. You can go to a dinner.
It's a much more tougher time arranging a dinner appointment with people now than I'm in the shape I'm in now.
It is hard.
I'm getting on a plane. I can't get on a plane. Can't go anywhere. Can't fly anywhere. You know.
You could.
With
Mom
difficulty.
can't, but you could.
With difficulty.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. It'd be hard. It is hard.
So I miss that.
Yeah.
I miss that a lot.
What's the best part about being 91?
Not having to go anywhere. I don't know if there's a good part about being 91. The fact that I am 91 is a good part, that I've made it, and I think about it, and I've gone past whatever I would think I'd live to. I've gone beyond that part. Mm-hmm. You know, I used to read the old joke was read the obituaries. If you're not in it, it's okay.
Right. It's a good day. Right.
The fact that I hit 91 is a good thing, I think.
What would you tell somebody who wants to be a creative person, wants to live a creative life, but is afraid they won't succeed?
I'd say give it a shot. Definitely try it and see if it works for you. If you
How long should you wait?
A week and a half.
Try. A week and a half?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I'd say give it, it depends on the age of the person. If the guy's like 19 years old and wants to be a comedy writer, and I said give it a couple of years.
Right.
Give it 2-3 years. Try it out. See where if you're good. If you're good, it's going to work. If the guy's talented, if the guy can write funny, he'll work, I think.
How much of it is confidence?
Good part of it is confidence. More of it is luck.
Right.
Who you can hook up with. If you could get that first deal or first job and they like your work, you'll keep working. But it's a lot of luck. Got to be luck out with the right show, the right people around you. If you have friends that are doing this, and you're good. If you're talented and you're gifted, I think you're going to work.
But to have that, to have somebody give you that shot the first time, don't you have to exude a certain amount of confidence, even if you don't have it?
It helps if you have confidence. But the guys that you've been with writers that are in the room that may not have the confidence. They quietly sit there. Neil Simon may have been one of those guys that's quietly sit there and write brilliantly and hand in the paperwork.
Right.
And they're funny.
If I have a question,
Yeah.
it's like just totally unrelated. If you had to be one age forever.
Oh,
or like
good one.
Or like, which of those 91 years is like the year that you would be willing to live for the rest of your life?
8.5. I'm like 8. No. I would say 31.
So that would be like around 1965.
Yeah. Well.
I mean.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Not that 65 was a great year, but
yeah,
that's a good age to be. You're still young enough, energetic, you're still physically okay, more than okay.
Yeah.
And your mind is very vibrant, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a good age to be, 31.
We talked about this a second ago, and then you kind of had sort of an answer, but not really. I don't know if
that sounds like me a little. Yeah.
This is the time to do the moment of joy.
A moment of joy.
At 91, what do you live for?
Have one day following another of a pleasant day. Right now in my life, I want a pleasant day from for the rest of the year, the rest of my life, the rest of my time here. I want to be happy, I want to laugh, I want some fun, and that's it.
What does that look like to you now? Like, what is
getting up, doing a little reading, doing a little stuff on my computer, and watching some shows at night. Maybe doesn't involve people a lot. Doesn't involve a lot of socializing.
What about hitting a breakfast with friends or that kind of thing?
I'd love breakfast with friends if it's not too uncomfortable. If I got to drive someplace and drive to Tahunga in a bus,
not a bus, but a car.
Get a lift, get a ride, get a special. I don't want too much work involved.
Right. Okay.
I don't want to work hard.
Moment of joy, different moment of joy question.
A moment of joy.
If you wanted to feel true joy in your life, that's in the moment, to get your head in that great space, how do you do that? How would you do that? Would you turn on Yankee Doodle Dandy or Court Jester? Or would you look at the sunset? Or would you go...
Both those things, I would do both of them. That would last for not a whole day.
Not a whole day, a moment.
A moment.
It's a moment of joy.
Yeah.
It's not a lifetime of joy.
Yeah, Yankee Doodle Dandy would do it for me. Sunset would do it, although I've got the skin condition.
Right.
The Sunday morning show we have every Sunday morning. And Moment of Nature at the very end.
Right.
Too short for me. I want more of that. I like that. There's the Moment of Nature where they cut to a bird or a mountain.
And is your very favorite food casserole? What's your very favorite food?
I like casserole and don't have enough of it.
Right, but what's your very favorite food? If you had
Last meal.
I would tell you a heart-healthy salad.
Terrible. The worst last meal of all time.
I've heard that joke before,
Right.
but I fully was not expecting that again.
It's good. How do you want to be remembered? If you can have
I think as a nice guy, a funny guy. It was good to be around Arnie. I miss him. There were laughs with Arnie, and what a terrific guy he was. I'd like to think that. Mm-hmm. What a nice guy Arnie was.
Okay.
It's a shame he's not around anymore.
I think people will feel that way
I
someday.
Think so.
Someday?
I think so.
Yeah, you're definitely a nice guy. You're known. People told me maybe they're painting a rosier picture because you're my dad, but people who've worked with you are always telling me what a wonderful experience it was to work with you.
Oh, great. That's
and
good
what
to
a
know.
nice guy you were, and how you didn't have a lot of ego. It wasn't a lot of gamesmanship.
Yeah.
People felt that you were warm and kind and generous and funny, but above all funny.
Good. That's good.
So
you nailed it. That's terrific to know. It's good to know.
What questions do you have for us?
Charlie, to you, where did I fuck up? What did I do wrong?
It's hard to fuck up as a grandparent.
Yeah.
Maybe I did.
So where you fucked up? No. I didn't. I actually was not planning on saying the word fuck. Okay.
No,
but that's okay.
Sorry.
We're a safe space.
Yes, we are.
But I don't think you did. I mean, I think if anything, I don't know. Sometimes I think your idea of what was funny or what was entertaining when I was 3 or 4 years old was not what I thought was funny or entertaining.
That's interesting.
When I was a kid, I feel like you would sort of toy with me about random stuff. I think my mom tells a story about when she was trying to teach me plural nouns, and I would be she'd be one car, and then I'd be 2 cars, whatever. But then I think you were 1 goose, 2 geese, or whatever. And then or I said gooses, and then you're no, it's actually geese. I don't know. I think maybe I was maybe too young to fully understand what was going on, but I think sometimes that was your tendency rather than to just be silly and have fun. You were being silly and having fun in your own way, but it wasn't necessarily with me, at least at that young age. But I think now that I'm older, I think we certainly can relate more. And I think I was just always kind of an inquisitive kid, and I always was curious about your life and your I don't know.
Jay.
Yes.
When you were grown up, I didn't teach you how to ride a bike.
No.
I don't think I did.
Maybe not. I
didn't teach you how to drive a car. I didn't do all these dad things with you.
Right.
Do you resent that?
Where were you? What were you doing?
What was that? Yeah.
What were you busy doing? Working, I guess.
I guess.
I don't know. I mean, you did spend some time with me as I was learning learner's permit time, but not a lot. Mom was much more of the driver.
Yeah,
she taught me how to drive. Bicycle, I think you were involved in helping me learn to ride a bicycle, maybe, but not much. You weren't around a lot. I mean, that's the thing. You weren't around a lot when I was a kid. And is your question?
No,
was it bothered by it?
I felt maybe I missed something. I didn't do a dad thing, and then you were.
Well, I think you probably did miss some stuff.
Jay, can I help you with your science project.
Right.
I don't remember ever.
I would never ask you to help me with my science project. That's not something of a possibility. But I know. I mean, listen, you guys were young parents and you were out a lot, and I was left home alone a lot, and that's okay. That's just how it was.
Okay.
One of the reasons I was probably too involved in this guy's life is as a response to your absence in my life.
Oh,
and so
actually.
I was probably spent not enough time letting him make his own mistakes alone.
Actually, that was when you asked the question, like, where did I fuck up? I thought that's like, I was thinking about like, what did, my first thought was like, what did he pass on to
me that made your life miserable? Yeah, that's good connections.
Yeah, but I think you were a little, I mean,
involved.
like, but I don't think it wasn't just you, it was also Mom.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying I really do try to keep a distance and give him space, but I don't think I'm great at it.
Oh,
honestly, I don't. But I'm trying to be.
I think you think you're better at it than you are.
I
think Mom is not good at it, but she knows she's not good at it.
I try to be
like
give it space, but that's fine.
Anyway,
but I enjoyed my childhood, and thank you for my life and my childhood. It's fantastic.
I love having you in our family.
All right. Well, I like being in the family, and I really appreciate you being a dad and being a great model of a person.
I had a great time. I mean, like it's over. Like we died 20 minutes ago.
No.
It was terrific.
We still have the car ride back home. But no, it
was great. I mean, I can't think of a better combination. Growing up, you were terrific. I mean, the things that you did and the experience that we had and and your gift for comedy worked out perfectly with me. If I had to pick a kid to do something, I would pick your kids to do.
When I was born, did you hold me up and say, someday this boy will have a podcast?
I said nothing like that. No.
All right, Pop. Well, thank you for being here.
I've learned a little bit more about you.
Sure, and we've learned about you.
You.
Thank you, Charlie Kogen, for being here.
Thank you, Charlie.
And thank you, Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogen audience for being here. And I appreciate you watching and listening. And if you have any questions or comments for me or my family, write them to dbawjk@gmail.com and spend some time with people you love. Sit down in front of them and talk with them. It's worthwhile.
Preferably with cameras, right? In front
Preferably
of them.
with cameras.
One more thing, I would
yes.
I would have liked to have been. I haven't heard the tape, but a little wittier this afternoon. But
we're not going back.
Okay. I'm not going back.
You have to live with what you have.
Okay.
All right.
And thanks for being here, and thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Don't be alone with Jay Kogen.